It's really hard to say. I think there are a lot of little details that make a winning combination. For instance, one of the fellows in the group, that is Bob Gaudio, writes just about everything that we record. So everything is actually written as though it were tailor-made for the group.
So there's no outside interference. You have all the material you want.
This doesn't mean that we don't accept any outside material.
But just basically all of your material is
Right.
from the group itself. Do you all play instruments, or are you singers?
Yes, we do.
Who plays what in the group?
Well, I play lead guitar, and Bobby plays organ, Nicky plays bass, and Frankie usually plays drums, but we carry our own drummer.
Bob Crew's instrumental album, or The Four Seasons. Now, do you find, listening to this, that the music is somewhat different than when you record it?
Well, I think it's a big change. He shot for a completely different outlook on anything we'd done, doing it with strings and a big orchestra the way he did. You know, he went for a different kind of a sound.
Training
Do you
for
have
your
much
songs,
rehearsal time for your
different
tunes?
parts.
The rehearsals, we rehearse about, I guess,
Twice a year?
well, actually, a group rehearses twice a year to make sure that they know all the chords when they go up on stage and all. But actually, rehearsing to record, that's where all the work is. We rehearse about a week before we go in and record.
How about your high voices? That's probably one of the great factors which made your songs hits. Does this take much training, keeping the voice up and not having it crack?
Well, I mean, there are times when, you know, if I should catch cold or be overworked, you know, where I'll have a problem. But usually it's not too much of a problem.
And he's overworked right now because we work 3 days.
Next, I'd like to ask you about your style in the songs. Has it changed since your first tunes have come out, or basically the same?
Not much recently, but I think we're going to try and change some of the style a little bit. You know, we're going to try and get away from the high voice and get more to a softer harmony.
Do you feel many groups have copied your style with the high voice since you've come out?
I know there is plenty of groups that actually copied the tracks that we've made and tried to copy the voice, but it's pretty difficult copying Frankie's voice because its range is so high, you know, and it's really a powerful full style.
Yes, it is.
See, I bought it in a store that went out of business.
Now, about the English music.
I personally think that most of the English artists have cashed in on the rhythm and blues artists of this country, and it's nothing new. It's been here like for the past 10 years or so.
Has it affected your style?
I don't know, but I have the feeling that the market has been so flooded with this English product that it just hurts the whole industry. I don't think that it has hurt any particular group in any way. It's like there are many other groups who are not English who are still having hits, like, for instance, Little Anthony and the Beach Boys and Jay and the Americans and many others.
Right.
They just continue along. But I just think that the English sound is so overdone you could hardly tell one group from the other.
But since there are only 100 hit songs on each top 100, a great portion of them are the English tunes and knock some Americans off the market
Well,
now.
the unfortunate thing is that most of the people in this country are not aware of the fact that in England, as in any foreign country, the percentage of foreign records played is so small. Like I was saying, England, for instance, they only play 10%. And 10% of their charts are you know, foreign records, and we're included in this foreign market.
Are you released in
You know,
England?
all the American acts and all the acts and the other part of the world are included in this. So, actually, I think about 3% of their programming is American. Now, this is because the radio stations are controlled by the government.
Like in
Now,
England.
right, now, that's what I'm talking about in England. But like in the United States, I just think they're getting you know, there are times where they do get a little carried away. There are many, many records, I think, American records, that should have made it if they would at least gotten on the air.
Right.
And the fact is that you can only play so many records in a show. If you have a 2-hour show, and it seems to me there are times where they more than 75% of the playlist is English.
It's cornering the market
Now,
over there.
it's not only that. Most of these English records, just because they're English, they get played.
Yes.
Which is wrong.
Exactly right.
I just don't believe that way, and I do believe that if a record is heard enough, you will get some sales on it.
And regarding these English records being played, I don't think that was the case a few years ago, but now, with all this overflow of the English music.
I definitely feel as though there must be, you know, a change will come. It has
A radical change, or take gradual?
I do think that the American performer is far more superior than the English performer, or any other performer in the world. This is my personal opinion. I think that the American performer comes off a whole lot better. He looks professional when he works, and he is professional. And it's not just like sitting around a candy store, you know, just goofing around. I mean, it's supposed to be a professional business, so everybody should be professional.
Well, how about some of these English gimmicks with the hairdos?
That doesn't annoy me.
That's very nice if they keep it away from their ears so they can hear what you're
Yes.
saying.
Well, what do you consider the true test for a record? Does it have to have a fast beat or catchy lyrics?
I don't think so. I think as long as it has a good story to it, and it has a good track behind it, you know, that's about the biggest thing you can go for. The melody line, it has to be, you know, pretty well commercial and liked.
And you take all this into consideration when you make the tunes?
Well, you have to if you want to come up with hit records, I guess.
What goes into your act? Do you have anything besides singing when you perform?
Well, it depends on the audience. You know, as we work the audience, we don't have any set routine that we do. As we work, you know, we just come up with the things that we want to do.
Use some comedy sometimes?
Right, depending upon the audience.
Audience has to lead you sometimes too, then,
Right.
right?
I mean, if you're not getting your audience one way, you try different ways. If you don't get them, well,
What do you consider the greatest seller that you've had so far? Well, not consider, you probably know and have it.
Well, I don't know. I guess the greatest seller was Sherry. Because,
I think it's a combination. My opinion is I think it's a combination of a few records. I don't think, you know, because some of them are so close.
Mm-hmm.
Ragdoll and Sherry and
Sherry
Dawn,
and
I guess.
Ragdoll
Yes,
and Dawn
so
and Walk Like a Man.
Is there any chance getting some of these re-released and come out again?
Re-released?
Right.
I wouldn't know about that.
See, we have no control over
That's the company.
the record company. They usually have a policy, and they just want new material all the time.
We'd love to have control.
On the flip side of your rock tunes, I notice you have folk songs. I don't know if you consider them folk songs. They don't get too much play because your other side is always up on top. But do you think these folk songs will catch on eventually, or any time?
Well, if they would just, I think if a few of them, if they got a little play, they could catch on. There are very few people that are aware that we don't just do one kind of music. We do just about everything. We sing modern, we sing folk music, we do rock and roll, we do instrumentals. In fact,
Yeah, we're great.
in the very near future, we're planning to do an instrumental album.
What were you doing before your
What were you
first record
doing
became a hit?
before?
Well, stealing hubcaps.
No, we were working in a little club in New Jersey, Point Pleasant, New Jersey. 4 nights a week, wasn't it?
Just about, because it came to $80 for the week.
80 apiece.
And it wasn't
What
that
was your
bad.
first big hit?
Sherry was.
And Big Girls came out second.
Sherry did just about 2 million records.
Have you had any hits which have both sides clicked in the charts?
Yes, we have. We had a thing called Candy Girl and Marlena.
Now, none of these were folk songs. Do you think if you did this again, it might catch on both sides?
Yes, I think it
Sound
could,
right?
but like I say, the way the market is now, it's hard enough getting one side played. Believe me, I'm telling you the truth. The only people that seem to be coming up with two-sided hits or getting any airplay on two-sided, on any particular record, where they go and shoot for it as a two-sided thing, are the English acts.
Right.
Now, I hope you don't get the wrong impression. This is not a down with England day, as far as we're concerned. But I just do
54-40
think that, as they do in England, the English for the English, I think the American people should just stick a little.
Closer together.
When the Beatles came over to this country, they really hypoed personal appearances in a way which hasn't been done since Presley.
In a way that hasn't been
Has
done
this
since
helped
Presley.
you in your
Has this
personal
helped you in
appearance,
your
yours?
personal appearance?
Yes, I think the Beatles were a good thing. I really do. When I say that the English acts, there are a few that I really think are very good, and they should get as much exposure as anybody else. But some of the English records I just can't make. Well, I just got back from England. I was on a vacation, and I spent a week in England and a week in Italy. And the dress in England is it differs very much from ours here. It seems as though they've gone back into the 17th century. Really, I'm serious, and it's a whole thing there with the four-button suits and the close and the wide lapels, but very high, and the tab collars, which we were using 10 years ago. Well, a lot of our things, especially any of them that lean slightly to the classical side, Bobby and our producer have been very much influenced by better music, and this is where they get a lot of their ideas, such as guys like Burt Bacharach.
Yeah.
He gets all of his ideas from the classical things. And there have been many big hits that have come from classicals. In fact, Jane and the Americans have a thing now.
Oh, man.
And those things, I don't care how different the market is, every once in a while one of those things sneak right through.
Well, when you present a song, do you create any sound on your instruments? Your voices, of course, are the sound of the Four Seasons, but
Depending on what we're looking for. Now, we try on every song to add something a little different to it instrumentally. You're not always as successful as you'd like to be, but most chances, I'd say that we've been pretty successful.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to...
Four Seasons with a Million Reasons for listening to? Come on.
Come on. Take one.
Hi, we're the Four Seasons with a Million Reasons for listening to WHUC, Hudson, New York, Gary Grossman Show. Else beside hi?
This makes it go on.
We're the Four
Right.
Seasons. Hi, we're the Four Seasons, and you're listening to
Just
Gary
say hi, we're
Grossman
the Four
Show.
Seasons,
Don't
and you
get
do the
fancy,
rest.
don't get
Let's go.
Okay, I'll say, you say hi, we're the Four Seasons. All of us will say that, and then I'll say the rest. Okay.
Hi, we're the Four Seasons.
And you're listening to the Gary Grossman Show on WHUC, Hudson, New York.
this isn't... This is another... This is Gary Grossman with another on-stage report from the Pittsfield Boys Club in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. This evening, I'm talking with two members of the Four Seasons, Tommy DeVito and Frankie Valli. Now let's see, Tommy, who sings the high falsetto parts first of all?